We've all had fun playing Truth or Dare, right? It's a classic drinking game that can spice up any evening. But what if we didn't have a choice whether we wanted to play it or not? What if an unseen force gave us no choice and made us play its own version of this twisted game, or else? Hello and welcome to our channel. Get a chance to be featured in our future videos by suggesting underrated movies you want us to recap. Just leave a comment down below. So, today we'll recap and review a supernatural horror movie, Truth or Dare. Let's check it out.
At the start of Truth or Dare, we find ourselves in the Mexican desert. A scared, short-tempered woman arrives at a gas station. She's anxious and scared. After buying some cigarettes, the phone rings, and immediately she's on edge as the attendant answers it. He seems different and his voice has changed. Truth or dare, he asks her. Before we know it, she grabs a bottle of lighter fluid and lit another store attendant on fire. Screaming in agony, the attendant runs from the store, collapsing in the forecourt. Next, we find Olivia. She seems like a classic good girl, hardworking, career-focused, and selfless. Her job is even working for Habitats for Humanity, a non-profit organization that builds homes in third-world countries. She is a model employee, much to the disappointment of her longtime friend, Marky, who is frustrated that Olivia won't ditch her job for spring break. Unknown to Olivia, though, Marky has called Habitat on behalf of Olivia and told them that she is sick and cannot work for the week, and before she knows it, she's whisked off to Mexico to make the most of their final week together. As they prepare to leave, Olivia brushes their friend Lucas's hand, and we sense a moment of quiet intimacy between them, only for Marky to leap on Lucas and kiss him. Lucas is Marky's boyfriend. Suddenly, this moment of unspoken affection becomes understandable, a forbidden love that has been kept secret for some time. Olivia, Marky, and Lucas and their friends take off on the road, and the title credits roll over this week of fun and drinking as they take in sights, party, and unwind on the beach. On their final day of the trip, the gang finds themselves in a busy nightclub. On the dance floor, Olivia finds Marky drunk and kissing a stranger, and it turns out that she has been cheating on Lucas for some time. Later at the bar, while fighting off the seedy advances of varsity jock Ronnie, they meet a mysterious stranger called Carter. He suggests the group go with him to a nearby abandoned church to continue the party.
If your alarm bells are not ringing yet, they should be.
Once they arrive, he opens a cooler of beers and suggests that they play a game of Truth or Dare. Everyone agrees, and the game begins. Before long, a medical student and not nice guy, Tyson, reveals to the group that Olivia has secretly been in love with Lucas for years. The group shrugs this off and carries on with the game. Lucas gets naked, and Olivia and her friend, Giselle, share a brief kiss. When it comes to Carter's turn, he reveals that he has secretly drawn them all there for a reason. He chose Olivia because she looked like a pushover, and he's lured them into a supernatural game of Truth or Dare, and now that they're in, there's no way out. Olivia chases Carter as he runs from the church, but loses sight of him. When she returns, she has a vision of all her friends wearing threatening, eerie smiles. She snaps out of it and shakes it off. Back home, life is carrying on as usual for the group as they return for their final semester of classes. Everything seems normal, except for the fact that Olivia keeps spotting Truth or Dare written around her daily life like it's following her. She even accuses Ronnie of scraping it into the side of her car, only to turn back around and see that it was all in her head. Later at home, Marky and Olivia connect and try to clear up the awkwardness between them since Tyson told everyone that she's in love with Lucas. Marky admits that since her father took his life, Olivia has been the only person who's truly been there for her. At the college library, Olivia finds herself suddenly surrounded by her fellow students, all wearing the same sinister smile as before, telling her Truth or Dare. They overwhelm her. Startled and scared, she blurts out in front of the library that Marky has been cheating on Lucas. Suddenly, everyone surrounding her has vanished, and it appears to her fellow students that Olivia has dropped her friend into deep trouble for no reason. Olivia tries to explain to Marky what happened, but Marky tells her to leave her alone and that if she ever touches her again, she'll break her hand. At the local bar that night, Ronnie is being his usual sleazy self and comes onto a pretty girl and propositions her. Suddenly, it seems as though the game of Truth or Dare has possessed her, and she dares him to show his private parts to everyone in the bar. He foolishly jumps on the pool table, ready to please her, only for the mockery of girls who have previously seen him naked to make him change his mind, and he refuses the dare. Suddenly, the same eerie smile that has been haunting Olivia appears on his face, and he seems not to be himself. He goes to step off the pool table and slips on the 8-ball, falling and brutally snapping his neck. Shortly after, at home, the friends all receive the video of Ronnie dying in the bar, and Olivia starts putting the pieces together.
She's convinced that the game has followed them home. She sounds crazy to her friends, of course, especially to Lucas, who comes home to collect his stuff, disappointed that such a close friend has been lying to him for so long.
On his journey home, however, he swears he hears a strange voice in the air whispering his name. Passing a wall of graffiti, he finds Truth or Dare scrawled painted on the wall. Suddenly, he feels a painful burning sensation as the words are scrawled into his arm. Finally convinced, he calls Olivia and tells her he believes him. He reveals that he has feelings for her, that this was the truth the game gave him. They call the group together as they try to unpack what's happening to them. Everyone is still resistant. They think the idea sounds crazy, especially Marky, who is still tender about what Olivia did to her earlier that day. She goes to leave, but Olivia stops her, saying she can't be alone and that in the order that they were playing the game originally, that it's her turn next. Then, just like that, Marky receives a text, truth or dare. She's convinced this is all still an elaborate prank and chooses dare. The next reply tells her she has to break Olivia's hand. Olivia immediately takes a hammer from a drawer and provokes Marky into smashing her hand with it so that the game won't kill her. Shocked and distraught, everyone leaves except Lucas and Brad, who will take her to the hospital. Next, the game comes for Brad, and he selects the truth. Out of nowhere, his dad appears, and the game possesses him to tell him he must come out to his homophobic dad. He does it, and surprisingly, it goes better than he could have hoped, and feels great about it. Olivia clicks that Tyson is next, and they go to intercept him at an interview.
They're all too late though, and the last question in his interview pushes him over the edge, and asks him to reveal why he forges drug prescriptions.
He lies and allows the demon, which forces him to brutally stab himself in the eye with his own pen. Finally convinced, the group decide to track down Carter and find some answers about why this is happening to them. In their searching, they find footage of the gas station girl from the opening of the movie. They track her down on Facebook and find that she was friends with Carter. Meanwhile, upstairs, the game comes for Penelope, Tyson's grieving girlfriend, in the form of her reflection. She chooses truth, but the game won't let her. Her friends find her walking the perimeter of the roof of the house, drinking a bottle of vodka. She says the game told her she has to finish the bottle. Before she falls to her death, her friends manage to catch her on a mattress. Olivia then receives a message from Giselle, the gas station girl who says she wants to meet. Giselle reveals the exact same thing happened to her and her friends in Mexico, and that all of her friends are dead, and that Carter, whose real name is Sam, lured everyone to the church because this was his dare. From nowhere, Giselle draws a gun on Olivia. The game has told her to kill Olivia. Before she can shoot, Penelope jumps in front of the bullet and Giselle fails her dare. The game takes control of her and she turns the gun on herself. It's Olivia's turn next, and later at their home, the game comes for her in the form of a local homeless man. She chooses dare, and the game tells her that she has to sleep with Lucas. Marky is furious, and she leaves Lucas and Olivia to it. Olivia kisses Lucas, revealing that this is her dare, that she chose dare because she had a dark secret she could never tell Marky.
The two begin to make love, only for the game to possess Olivia and force Lucas to reveal that he doesn't love her as much as he loves Marky. This passionate moment between them is spoiled, and Olivia realizes that it's Marky's turn next.
Olivia and Lucas follow a lead they find back to Mexico. They've discovered the identity of the one surviving nurse of the massacre that took place at the church in Tijuana before it was abandoned. Arriving at her home, she writes down her tragic past for them to understand. As children, all the girls at the convent were forced to take part in the priest's sadistic games. Eventually, they all had enough of their suffering and they summoned the demon Calix to possess their game. He kills the priest for them, ridding them of their torment, but left them to deal with the new terror. He forced the girls to continue playing, killing many of them. The old lady reveals that only by repeating a spell 7 times and offering a sacrifice in a sealed jar can the person who summoned the demon can Calix be trapped. She reveals the sacrifice must be the tongue of whoever summoned Calix. When they realize that the old lady has been refusing to speak, she opens her mouth and reveals her tongue has been crudely sliced from her mouth. Olivia, Lucas, and Brad now know that they have no choice but to track down Carter and force him to cut his tongue out. Brad's father knocks at the door and interrupts them. He's been doing some digging and thinks there's more to this case than meets the eye. Now it's Brad's turn. The game tells him that he has to take his father's gun and force him to beg for his life. Brad takes the gun and pleads with his father, desperately trying to explain to him that he needs him to beg for his life. His father's partner returns to the scene and shoots Brad dead. One more down, now it's Olivia's turn again. This time she has to reveal her secret to Marky. The secret she swore she could never tell. On the night that Marky's father committed suicide, he was drunk and tried to force himself onto Olivia. She turned him down and he begged her not to tell Marky, that he would die if she did. In her distress, Olivia told him that Marky would be better off if he was dead. Marky is heartbroken by this betrayal and runs away, telling Olivia she never wants to speak to her again. In this extreme low point, Marky finds the gun that her father used and turns it on herself. Olivia talks her down, telling her that following a conversation with the cop she's found out where Sam is hiding, that they could finally stop the game. They arrive at Sam's house and break the door down.
He's locked himself away to hide from the game, but they tell him they can stop it, neglecting, of course, that the only way to do it is for him to cut his tongue out.
They return to the church, the source of all their terror, to enact the ritual. Sam recites the ritual at gunpoint, and it seems to be working. The walls of the church shake and crumble. Hope is in sight. That is, until Calix appears to Lucas and forces him to choose whether he will kill Marky or Olivia. He leaves, denying Calix this final satisfaction. As the church falls around them, Olivia reveals to Sam that he has to cut his tongue out. He wrestles with the choice, die or cut his tongue out and live. He makes his choice and cuts out his tongue. Before he could complete the ritual and trap Calix, the demon takes control of Lucas and kills Sam, thwarting their one last chance of escaping the cycle. In their one last chance, Olivia dares Calix to tell them how they could escape the game. Calix tells them that there's no way out, that the game won't end until everyone in it is dead, or they invite some new friends. In that moment, Olivia has a brainwave. She takes to YouTube and tells everyone their story and asks the viewers a final fatal question: truth or dare?
Truth or Dare is a classic example of a fun, silly Saturday night horror to watch with friends or family, or whenever you're in the mood to see terrible things happening to silly, conventionally attractive teens. It's not really scary at all, but it is a good way to kill 90 minutes. Please subscribe to our channel to be notified when we upload. Also, don't forget to suggest movies you want us to recap in the future in the comments down below.